Rarely do I stream from inside an airport. I have 5 minutes until I'm getting on a plane to head back to Rochester. But this battery stuff has really been driving me crazy today. I'm worried that the independent repair community is not being fair to Apple. I almost never say things like that because I think Apple does a lot of bad things. I think they are too controlling and their reach is too far, and they prevent us from being able to extend the lives of our mobile devices if we choose, a lot of the time. They do a lot of bad things, and I think that we should call them out when they do bad things. But I think that we also have to be fair, because if we expect to be treated fairly, then we need to also be fair. I think that this battery service, indicator is something that is being sensationalized, and I think that is something that we need to really put some thought into what we really would like to ask. One thing that I think is important is, as humans, we tend to see black and white, and to make every issue an extreme. It's either good or bad. It's a villain or an angel. You have to be really careful with doing that. I also think that we tend to treat large corporations as some big entity that's different than a mom and pop small business. That's really not fair. I think that when you have a problem, you should just speak up and ask about it. So I would like to suggest that the solution to the problem of the battery service issue is something very simple. Hey, Apple, I think that it is somewhat misleading for the iOS to say battery service instead of unverified or possible third party, or even just a question mark. I think that it's misleading to say service for any battery incompatibility. So all you need to do, Apple, clear this whole thing up, is make iOS just say unverified, something like that. So let me talk about this issue before I have to jump on this plane really quickly if you're unaware. First of all, if you just do a Google search for the word iPhone battery, you can see a bunch of them for sale. So you can get an iPhone battery from Cheap O Fix. If Cheap O Fix battery goes in a phone that I buy from somebody on Swappa, I'd like to know, honestly. I'd like to know whether or not the phone that I'm buying secondhand has an Apple genuine battery in it or a third-party battery, because that changes things. I know that right now, independent repair can't access Apple batteries. I'd like to see that change, but I'd like to know. I don't have a problem with the phone telling me, hey, this has an aftermarket battery. That's just information. It doesn't mean I'm not going to buy that phone or that's somehow bad. But, if this phone has a battery from Cheap O Fix, I don't mind the phone reporting that and telling me that. Look at what some of these articles say today. If you just search iPhone battery and you scroll down and start looking at the way these articles are reporting on this the issue. Here's one. Apple has begun software locking iPhone batteries to prevent third-party replacement. What? That's not true. You can replace an iPhone battery just like you could yesterday or 2 weeks ago or anytime. You can get a replacement battery, put it in, your phone will work, it'll turn on, it'll charge, and it will report the normal charge percentage. And if you plug it into something like 3U Tools, it'll tell you how many cycle counts. Nothing has changed. The only thing that is different now is that it says battery service, which I feel like I've seen it say battery service a lot. Is this even new? I don't have any idea. So you have to even hunt for that message. Let's look and see what the message actually looks like. If you change in a battery, so I've swapped the battery, and this is what it says: battery health service. It doesn't necessarily need service. It just means I don't detect the original battery. Right? And then if you click on it, then it tells you exactly, this is a great message. I'm unable to verify that this iPhone has a genuine Apple battery. Health information is not available for this battery. I feel like that's fair enough. I can't ask Apple to say all's well when somebody puts in a Cheap O Fix battery into my iPhone. I don't think it's fair for us to insist that they make iOS just say, it's fine, If they have a mechanism here that's based on their own internal calibration of the battery, then I think that it's not unreasonable for the iOS to say, hey, I can't read this battery. That's all that it's saying. Service, that's a little misleading. Just say, I can't read it. You know, I don't think that this seems really, really sensationalized with all of this sort of, gloom and doom. And I want to caution you guys in independent repair, be careful of what you take up your pitchforks on and down with Apple, I'm never buying an iPhone again. I think it's unfair to call out a relatively minor thing. What happens if you just ask them, hey, can you change it from service to just a question mark? And then all is fine. Let's just ask. Let's see what happens. And even if they say no, it's already a done deal, it's all rolled out. All manuals say service. This is a pretty minor issue as far as I can tell. And there are a lot of really more egregious things. For a long time, I've wanted to make sort of a are we being fair to Apple, because they do a lot of good things that nobody talks about. Remember with iOS 11, the iPhone 8, a bunch of them came up with no touch because of a controller chip was different on the aftermarket screens. Guess what Apple did? Did they say, ha ha, you should have gone to us? No, they just rolled out an update and they magically all fixed themselves. Did anyone ever mention that? No. And there's all sorts of things. They patch security holes. They have made small changes that are very pro repair many times. They do a lot of bad stuff, but the good list isn't nothing. They did a voluntary recall on the A1660 with the Qualcomm baseband issues. They did in iPhone, remember iPad 2 to iPad 3, there's a little shield to prevent you from slicing the power flex. There's a shield in the iPad 3 that's not in the iPad 2. In the iPhone 5, there was a little chip U3 behind the battery that would get pry damaged all the time. In the iPhone 5S, they moved that and put this, made it so that the SIM tray went all the way to the edge of the board. The iPhone 5S long screw damage was so easy in the iPhone 6. Now it's buried under a layer of ground. There's things that are improvements, and I think that it's a company run by people, and I think that it's a mistake to always be just, you're a villain, always, you're a bad guy, you wear black. Be careful of that. Be fair. If you want to be treated fairly, then be fair yourself.